Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I know it has been more than a couple of months. It has been like 5 to 6 months since I've updated. I moved back home and I realized that if I stayed in the area that I was in, I wasn't getting enough opportunities if I stayed in the area. Here in the big city, I have like a lot more opportunities and stuff where I can grow my craft and meet new people, network, stuff like that, versus that small town that I was in. Currently, I'm in the graveyard. My great-great-grandma is buried back there somewhere, over there. Probably was. Another update is that I finished The Secret History by Abaddonae art. But that book is the most well-written in terms of like imagery and just the plot line, how it's slow. It is a slow read. It gravitates the climate, like it builds up until it reaches the climate, which is, if y'all don't know, y'all had 30 years. There was a classic, very elite group called, I don't even know if there's a name, but it's like they were Greek students and they studied ancient Greek, and their main focus was to off Bunny, which is Edmund Corcoran. The author actually, she voiced over the book, and each character that she has written is distinguished by a specific voice. Like for instance, Bunny, he's known for like his nasal voice, and it was annoying. Annoyingly good. You get immersed into the story, which is rare nowadays because writing tends to be of a task instead of a craft, instead of work. Especially with writers nowadays, all they tend to focus on is how many sales they can get in this book or how many numbers they can reach. It doesn't really, the writers nowadays don't really care about how to impact people. I think that's why I've gravitated more towards classical stories. Sorry, it's like all of these. It's autumn. That's why I gravitated towards more like the classical stories or books instead of nowadays. Because I don't know, there's something about a classic novel or a book that is special. It's special to open up something that was written, I don't know, 1,000 years ago, 2,000 years ago, 100 years ago, and have a whole different perspective of people who read it during that time versus, the 21st century. So I would definitely recommend The Secret History because it not only draws you in, but you get so immersed in the characters that when it's over, you kind of not die inside, but it's kind of like a bittersweet moment, even though each character has flaws. Like, I don't think the writer's intention was to romanticize them in any way. It was more towards revealing their flaws and revealing why they're not good people. The story was written in Richard's perspective, and Richard is known to be a person blowing the line. Richard has diabetes, and so he's not a very reliable narrator, especially with every character that was mentioned. Like, for instance, Henry is very notorious for being closed off and to himself. Francis is known as being not outgoing, but friendly-ish, And then the twins are known for being reserved as well. They're all very reserved, the group. I think the only person that's really outgoing is Richard himself, somewhat. He is the only one that is like the outsider of this elite group. And it's very hard for him because the rest of the group are more intimate in terms of like no one is allowed to get in, no one is allowed to get out. It's that exclusive. And so when Richard is introduced to the group and goes to their class, there's like, who is a stranger? Well, let's just ignore him, like, first time around. And then Bunny was actually the one who invited him Anyway, Bunny, I guess he knew all along that they were all insane. I think everyone in that story had some level of obsession, especially Henry. He was definitely obsessed. My favorite part of the book is when Richard is depressed and he's all alone. This was during winter break, and so everybody else was like in Boston or in like the country. Henry and Bunny was actually in Rome during winter break, and so Richard was all alone in Hampton College, and he was just going through it. He actually got bronchitis, I believe, from just staying at a place that needed to be condemned. If y'all don't know, up north, Vermont, that's where the story was set in. Vermont gets very cold in the winter. And so he almost could have died if Henry hadn't rescued him in that moment. So to me, that was like the point where Richard had some level of trust with Henry. I think that was very intentional with Henry, because I'm like spoiling a lot, but if y'all read up to that point, you know that was kind of planned in a way. I think Julian was like the planner all along, but I digress. The secret history it's only supposed to be read in like autumn and winter, especially winter. I've also rewatched Jane Eyre, the 90s version. I think that there was at least 3 versions, if I'm not mistaken, but I've watched Jane Eyre. I would like to apologize to all the classical readers out there that I did not know what I was talking about. It is not a self-journey, coming-of-age type story. It's definitely, she knows herself from the beginning, from the get-go. And she is a governess. If you don't know who Jane Eyre is, she's a governess. And she works with Mr. Rochester. But during her like early childhood, she actually grew up in an orphanage, and her friend Helen died because of smallpox, I believe. And she was actually there the day that she died. Like, she was there sleeping next to her, and then she said, Helen, and she's dead. And I'm just like, that's traumatic for a young girl, but I guess during that time it was normal, I guess. But it's very much a sad story. I was right. At least I remember that. It's a tragic story. But Jane Eyre she's strong. She is very to herself, but she's open to love. She's not reserved. She didn't let her trauma from her childhood restrict her from love in her adulthood, which I admire, because most of the time when people experience traumatic events, whether that would be orphanage or a friend dying next to you, they close themselves off from life in general and love. And Jane Eyre chose differently. She chose differently, and that's what I admired about her as a character. And Charlotte Bronte, well, the sisters really are more gothic, but I admire Jane Eyre as a character during that time period as well, where females during that time were written off, their emotions were written off, and Jane Eyre was one of the characters where they opened up the humanity of being a woman. I have not read the book yet. I've only rewatched the movie, but I do have the book still. like I have so many books I need to finish, but right now I'm reading Catalyst, the complete poems, and I was not expecting it to be raunchy, but it was raunchy. But yeah, like, it wasn't bad. It's just rage too. Like, he's very, I don't know what he's mad about, but he's furious about something. I'm like, child, what is it? Like, what's the tape? He was going through it. I don't know what he was going through. I've kind of spaced out during the last couple of poems. But yes, He was definitely going through it. I believe it's because his lover, Lesbia, was having an affair. I mean, they were both having an affair, but I guess she had a third man, which is crazy. Like, people back then, we think that they were so, I don't know, reserved, proper. No, they were just as raunchy as it is today. And I'm just like, ugh. I'm still reading it, hence why I haven't finished Jane Eyre. But yeah, I love reading books based off of history or historical characters, like, for instance, Marie Antoinette, or I don't know what that was. Okay, Marie Antoinette and Cleopatra even as well. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I just want to give like a life update of where I am. I still want to do YouTube. Just nothing interesting has been happening, so that's why I haven't been as efficient as I would like to be. I realized that, I literally have a party that I can walk to just 2 minutes away, so there's no excuse. I just need to be consistent. Consistency is key in everything that you do. But yeah, I think this weekend hopefully I'll get footage, because literally I have to be at choir practice at 6:30 because we start at 7. So I want to get there at least 30 minutes early, because the traffic over here is crazy, y'all. Where I used to live, it was a very small town ish, so it wasn't as much traffic. But moving back here in the big city, it's a lot of traffic, and I'm just like, y'all can't drive for one. Like, people coming here from New York, New Jersey, Boston, no, y'all can't drive. Sorry for the people who are from there, but get off these roads, y'all, because y'all about to kill somebody. Sorry for the background noise. Like, I'm literally still in the graveyard. Well, they are doing yard work. Yeah, so apologies for that. And yeah, that's it. That's really much it. Thank you all for watching this very short but very intuitive vlog or life update, whichever you want to call it. And I'll see you next time. Bye. My jar literally fell off the... Hold on, y'all.